Hi, I'm Fishing Paul and welcome to Into the Grid. If you didn't watch my previous video on this game, let me give you a little introduction. Into the Grid is a cyberpunk deck-building roguelite game by Flatline Studios. In this game, you take on the role of a hacker who is trying to infiltrate company grids to steal their data. This game drew me in because of its theme, but also because of its unique mechanics. It introduces a mechanic called VIM, which stands for Virtual Memory. Every card you play can generate some amount of Vim, which can then be used to trigger active abilities on your turns. These can range from simple ones such as draw a card to get 2 energy and draw a card, or even play the card you just played twice. And these really help when you get bad draws. Even if you get a bad draw, you can always just play the cards and generate Vim to get a very powerful turn next. So let's dive into the grid to see what changes have happened since my last video, which was the demo version. We have to start with the new run, of course. So we've got Ursa. This is the first character introduced. She has Feral and Grit, which enables her to deal more damage and also shield up more. Max Vim. There are a set of cards for Ursa, which trigger when she has the maximum amount of Vim. And they have some pretty powerful effects, such as deal 200 damage. And Code Slash. These cards are the keystone of her cards. There is a very special card called Alpha Code Slash, which scales based off of the number of Code Slash cards you've got in your deck. So, pretty powerful. But this was the demo character, so I think it's good if we take a look at the new character, Darwin. Let's see, Darwin, what does he have to offer? Assist. Play cards that offer lingering buffs. That sounds intriguing. You could play cards, and I suppose they'll give us extra buffs later on, in future turns. Scripts. Create one-time use cards. That sounds powerful. Could play a bunch of cards that you use right there and then to deal quite a bit of extra damage. On discard your cards for powerful effects. Yeah, that sounds pretty good, especially if you have some bad cards you really want to get rid of. And augment, temporarily enhance your commands. Yeah, that sounds pretty powerful because commands can truly turn the tide of the battle. Well, despite being real familiar with Ursa, we have to play with Darwin because he's a new character. We need to see how he plays out. So let's begin. Choose a mission. I think that we should start with the tutorial run because we need to find out together how the game's played. I, of course, have played this game a lot in the past. I've got 60 hours in the demo. But I think it would be good to start with the tutorial run, just to get a little taste of what the game is and how it plays. Let's go. Welcome to the grid. The grid is the digital infrastructure how runners hack. Grids are comprised of clusters, virtual rooms that hold nodes. Nodes are the smallest functional elements of the grid, and we can move the camera. We can also hold right click with the mouse. Sensitivity is a bit high, but I assume we can probably change that in the settings. Grids are divided into layers, which act like floors of the entire domain. Each layer has a core node that will let you advance to the next layer if you defeat its core keeper. Now, in the demo, the grid was one big floor, but because that became too chaotic to manage, the devs have made it all into different floors. They've split the big grid up to floors, which I think helps greatly with visibility. We have to find the big core at the end of each floor, and then we have to find the big boy core and defeat that to win the game. Data node. Data. 100 intel. That's the new name. It used to be called shards. We can get 100 coins, exploit to get 25% more, or rehash to get 300. Yeah, it's definitely been buffed a lot. And of course, to move through clusters, we need to defeat gates. This one requires us to use all of the nodes in the cluster. I'm sorry, I can't speak. I'm too excited about the game. Gates open, and now we can just teleport between various clusters. Before, Ursa had to walk everywhere. Oh, trace. So as we do stuff in the grid, we increase our trace, and after trace reaches 10, we get alarm, and when alarm reaches higher levels, everything gets buffed, and of course, it gets hard for us to keep going. And now to get away from this cluster, we have to defeat all the combats. I really like how the Sentinel has a render of what it could be. That was not the case in the demo. So this is how much HP we've got. If we reach 0, we die. Simple as that. We have to delete the HP of the Sentinel in order to move on. Here we see what it will do if we end our turn, and it also has a passive. All the cards have a clock cost, that's the energy in this game. And let me also talk here about the anatomy of a card. Next to the clock cost that was highlighted before, we also have the card name, what's its name. Then we've got below its type. Red cards are called attack cards. You do download those. And then starter, that shows its rarity. These starter cards are special cards, which are used in your starting deck. There's common, there's uncommon, and there's rare cards. And then we have below the text what the card will do once we play it. And to the left, we also have Vim. Every hexagon is how much Vim we can generate by playing this card. And here we can see the explanation for Vim. Yeah, commands are these active builds that we talked about at the start of the video. Every command can be used only once per turn, but there are ways to use commands more than once per turn. I do not know if the tutorial will let us get these ways, but in future videos where I'm going to do a full run, we will see those. Okay, and now we could also play these blue defense cards, which gives us shield, so we don't take damage. Let's see what do we want to play, judging by the intent. So we'll take 30 damage. We'll get exposed, which means we'll take 25% more damage. And at the end, it will inflict to itself 2 turns of exposed. So for the next 2 turns, it will take 25% more damage. Now we can shield up here, or we can go full attack to also generate a bit of Vim. I think we'd probably do a bit of a mix, like we shield up a little, but also attack it. Now it's going to talk about the shield mechanics. Shield works just like in Slay The Spire. You generate it, and it lasts for that turn only. And now we're out of clock, so we can end our turn. We could theoretically use our first command to draw a card, but it's not worth it because we have no clock, so we keep it for next turn. And now it will tell us about status effects. While fighting in the grid, you may apply or receive buffs and debuffs. Now all of these used to have a little 3-letter abbreviation for them, but now they all have icons, and I think it's gonna look so good. This is the exposed icon. So now we take 25% more damage, but so does the IC here. We're going to take 62 damage. That's a lot of damage, so we should probably try to shield up a little here. It would also be a good idea to see what might be in our deck left, to see if it's worthwhile to maybe try to draw a card and try to tank as much of this damage as we can. So Recycler is basically our discard, and Repo is our draw pile. So I'm going to shield up. I'm going to play Unstable Charge so that we generate a bit of extra Vim. And now, we've played lots of cards. It's about a 50-50 chance that we draw a shield and a 50-50 well don't. I think again we could try to hold on to Vim, especially because later we could draw 3 cards and choose one to discard for 10 Vim. And much later we can do for 18 Vim, which is almost the maximum. Draw 1 card, but also gain 2 clock, so we could do a very mega round with that. I say we take a little bit of damage here. We can heal it up, don't worry. Cyclone Barrage, deal 36 damage. That's quite a bit. So I think we can definitely try to play 2 Code Slashes. And I think we shield up and play another Unstable Charge. And theoretically next turn we should be able to kill it because we'll have enough Vim to play Energize. We have to kill it this turn because if we don't, we're going to take 50 damage. It has 49 and 9 due to its barrier, 56 HP. 58, sorry, I can't math. But look at that. Amped Code Slash has its conditional effect fulfilled because you have at least 10 Vim, so we can play it and it will do the bottom text, which is 40 damage. 18 damage, so that means with just this Code Slash, we can kill it. And the SE is dead. We have won our first battle. And after each battle, we get rewards. 120 intel and 1 hash key. That's a lot of shards. After defeating the Sentinel, you got hash key. Hash keys are a resource used to rehash nodes and unlock some gates. Rehash, as we saw, is a much more powerful effect compared to exploit or extract. We can interact with this node and we can get a card. And that's how we will get good. Okay, let's see what cards you want to get here. Hoplite, it's basically an attack and a defense card rolled to 1. Pretty decent. Rending Slash, deal 35 damage and inflict 1 debilitated. Enemy does 25% less damage. I do like that, but it also has the benefit of giving 3 Vim. Our cards give 2 Vim, so we can charge up our abilities much sooner. And Fang Strike, deal 35 damage and gain 2 Feral. Okay. Well, Feral lets us do more damage. I think I'll take Rending Slash because it can be a big debuff. Let's move on. New cluster here. Extraction Water. Those are not fun. Most clusters will have a water monitoring them, placed there to penalize our actions. Which means that most of the actions we do when a water will generate extra trace. We'll have to use every node here and we have to pay hash key to move on here. Let's exploit this node to get all nodes being more valuable next. Exchange. This is the shop. Let's see what we can buy from the shop. I also noticed something about a deep exchange. I am really curious to know what is offered there. Cost reducer. Increase trace by 2 to reduce the cost of adjacent items by 25%. Okay, that's quite good, but we don't want to generate too much trace right now. Fungi. This is one of the best cards, if not the best card in the entire game. It generates 1 Vim and costs nothing and lets you draw a new card. it's pretty much a no-brainer, I think, to have. So I'm going to grab it. And I can't grab anything else, unfortunately, here. Gatebreaker, unlock target gate. Yeah, that's pretty decent to get, but it's 2 out of our price range. Icebreaker, delete a water, a sentinel, or a gate. Aha. So they've removed a different item called a gate. Oh wait, no, Gatebreaker is still a thing, but Icebreaker now has more uses. Okay, Crimson Assault. Adonis out blocker, more barrier, and it goes to draw a card. Well, I mean, why not? Okay, let's delete the Sentinel now. Centroid. This has 140 HP, and every time it hits us, it gets back half of the damage it dealt to us as HP. That's a bit annoying. Deflecting uppercut, gain 36 shield, and then deal 20 damage. Okay, so it's probably in our best of interest to try and block that so it doesn't deal to us any damage. Let's start with the ad blocker to get a card. I was kind of hoping we might be able to get Fungi to generate Vim and also draw more cards, but we didn't. So we'll just play Red Cold Slash to make it debilitated, so it deals less damage, and finally another Cold Slash to end our turn. We tried to deal 15 damage, but we had barrier, so it couldn't. We can just play Fungi, it's free. Exposure Grenade, deal 30 damage and inflict 1 exposed. Again, I think it's probably good for us to shield up. Unfortunately, it has too much shield for us to do end damage, so we'll just play 1 card to get as much Vim as we can and move on to the next turn. So now we're exposed. But we have, I think, enough clock and cards to try to kill this turn. Armed Cold Slash deals 40 damage because we have at least 10 Vim. Ready Cold Slash deals 35 damage, so we're at 75, and with the regular Cold Slash we get 95 damage in total, so we have at least 85 damage to deal, and thus we can kill this turn. So Armed Cold Slash, Ready Cold Slash, and regular Cold Slash, and it's dead. We took absolutely 0 damage. Now Kanisha has this node to get Icebreaker. And that explains to us the functionality of rehash, that it's costly because we have to spend hash keys, but we get a pretty powerful effect. Ooh. Tools expire when you move to a new layer, so we have to use all of our tools before we move on to a different layer. Of course, in this tutorial run, there's no extra layer, so our tools won't expire. This cluster does indeed have some very useful nodes, because this is an upgrader node. It lets us upgrade our cards to make them more powerful, and some upgrades are real powerful. We can draw a card, again, that's very powerful. And finally, we've got the driver node. The driver node is basically like an artifact or a joker in Balatro or relic. Basically gives us some powerful effect to have in general. But it also has this activity water, which means everything we do will give us extra trace. So we will just delete it using the icebreaker, and now let's exploit all of the nodes. Obtain standard or obtain a red driver. Oh, so they buffed that. Drivers, let's see. Rooster driver, at the start of its combat, generate 5 Vim. Okay, I think that used to be like you generate 2 Vim, so it got a major buff. Stream driver, every time you play attacks in a single turn, draw 1 card. That's pretty powerful, but unfortunately we don't have enough clock to continuously play the cards that will be drawn by this driver, so it's not that good. Battery driver, every time you play 3 defenses in a single turn, gain 1 overclocked. Overclocked is status effect, which lets us generate 1 extra clock for the next turn. So we could play that a decent bit to... We could take this driver, if I want to like play a full turtle turn, where we just play full defenses, and next turn we have 4 clock. I'd also like Rooster Driver because starting with 5 is pretty good. It means we can draw a card right away. So I think I'll take the Rooster Driver here. Honestly, there could be arguments about most of the drivers there. Okay, protocols are basically powers from Slay The Spire. You play the protocol, and for the rest of the combat, you have this power. Well, the game tells us to add a protocol here, but I would actually not pick this card. I would pick the main beacon because it gets very, very powerful if you have max Vim. It's exactly what it said at the beginning when we were to pick a character, that Ursa plays a lot around cards that trigger on maximum Vim. And main beacon is one such card because normally it costs 2 clock and you get that 2 clock back. But at max Vim, you get 1 extra clock, you get 3 clock, and you draw 2 cards, plus of course the 3 Vim you get by playing it. So it's really powerful. Not to mention the upgrade is also really powerful because you can trigger the card not at max Vim, but at 12 Vim. Anyways, enough yapping. Let's get the protocol because it won't let us move on otherwise. And now let's upgrade a card. We will also get to 10 trace, and let's see what the game will tell us about that. So let's see what cards can we upgrade here. A Downside Blocker gets 1 extra Vim and 15 extra barrier. Okay, and nothing too exciting. Amped Codslash gets an extra Vim, and if it's powered up, it gets 60 damage instead of 40. Okay. Amped Cybercell gets 60 instead of 40 shield and loses the compile. That's okay. Code slashes go to 30 damage and 1 extra Vim. Protocols we can upgrade. Cybercell goes to 40 shield. Fun Guys generates 3 Vim and draws a card. Rain Code Slash loses 1 Vim, deals 45 damage, and on hit you inflict 2 debilitated. Okay, so it can be a bigger debuff, but I don't like that it loses the extra Vim. Oh, and there is actually a way here. We can upgrade Unstable Charge, and if we use at least one command on that turn, we can re-enable our minor command. So that's how you can, that's one of the ways rather, you can play a command more than once per turn. You can have an upgraded Unstable Charge, play the Unstable Charge with your command used up, and playing it re-enables it. So you can draw again a card, for example. Okay, so based on all of the cards we've got here, I think I probably will upgrade Ready Gold Slash because, well, we do lose the 1 Vim, it's pretty painful. We do a little bit of extra damage, but also Debilitated is pretty strong because it means we need to spend less clock on defenses and more clock on attacks. Oh no, alarm went up. Let's see what the game will tell us. The last action raised the grid's alarm level. It caused the gate close, but new sentinels may spawn as well. And now it costed 1 trace to open the door. Normally, doors don't cost trace to open. And we found the core node. The core node has the core keeper. This is the big boss of the layer. And the real battles have more layers. The dev said that a typical run will have 3 layers. And that we'll see in the next video. Before the final battle, there's 2 more things you can learn. I'm assuming it might be the skills down here and the commands here on the bottom right. Let's see. Let's try to customize our commands. Oh yeah, we don't have those commands fixed. We can pick. Scout, draw 1 card for 5 Vim. And then we've got Dare and Roar, which are gain 2 grit or 2 feral. Grit is get extra shield from your shield cards. Feral, do more damage with your attack cards. Simple. Dig. Draw 3 cards, then choose 1 to discard. Recollect, choose up to 2 cards from your discard and put them in your hand. Tutor, choose 1 card from Repo and place it in your hand. Energize, draw 1 card, gain 2 clock. Execute, choose a card from your Repo and play it for free. That can be quite powerful at times. And optimize, discard a card from your hand and reduce its clock cost by 1 until end of combat. Honestly, I think we'd probably keep the cards that we have right now. The commands, I mean. I think we're fine with these commands. Let's just go into... Let's go into here. Check out your skills. You can use any of your skills at any time, but doing so will disable all skills until the alarm level is raised. Okay, so in the demo, skills were not a thing, but I expected that skills would be like commands, so like you have one skill that would be like minor, but it refreshes after every node or combat or whatever. One that refreshes after lots of combat, and the other that's like one use. But apparently, they all refresh. You can use one of the three each time, and they all refresh when alarm is raised. Hunting grounds. You get Feral, Grit, and Vim. Moonveil. Select an area on the grid, and all node actions in that area cost 1 less trace. That's actually pretty powerful, especially if you have a very nasty Watcher. Blink. Teleport to a certain place. Okay. Well, honestly, Hunting Grounds is the only one we can really use. Okay, so what do we want to have here? Feral, Grit, or Vim? Well, I think starting with Vim here is pretty good, because we'll have Rooster Drive, which gives us 5, and so on the very first time we could have 10 Vim to draw an extra 3 cards. And of course, Feral and Grit will expire, so we'll basically do 20% extra damage on the first turn, then 15, then 10, then 5, and then from the 5th turn onwards, that we'll have 0 benefit. But Vim is also pretty temporary, but I think having a good setup is going to save us a lot of trouble later on, so I think we pick the Vim here. And let's go do the final battle. Okay, so some sentinels have companion devices which are called peripherals. These help out the main sentinel by giving us debuffs or buffing the sentinel itself. And if we kill them, they inflict some sort of debuff to the sentinel. We don't need to kill them to win, but it is a good idea to kill the peripherals if we can. Okay. I think I can probably try to go full attack here. Since it won't attack us at all, we probably want to either try to murder the Jaw straight away, or we can try to deal damage to this bad boy here. Technically, it would be a good idea to delete its HP here, because it has no barrier, and will get barrier next turn. So, I mean, we could technically just try to kill the Jaw next turn. We'll have the Vim to draw cards if we need to, so I think we just go full attack on it. And we've basically deleted half of its HP already. Okay, so definitely want to play Fun Guys here. It's free real estate pretty much. Okay. I now have 3 clock. I can probably play an Adonis blocker to draw card, and I'm gonna play the Cornucopia Protocol as well, because why not? Now, I'm at max Vim, so the Vim I'm gonna generate next turn is going to be wasted. But I think it's not that big of a problem. Well, if we want, we could theoretically spend a scout here, so that next turn we don't draw a card. But I think I want to keep the cards that we have in our decks, so I'm going to end turn. It is definitely a strategy, if you want to do it, to play a scout simply to delete a card, put it in your hand, so that you don't draw it next turn. Okay, so I think we have to play Amp Costas here to be able to deal damage to both the jaw and the sentinel itself. Remember, I said that you have to use cards that deal damage to all targets to actually deal damage to both the jaw and the sentinel. This card just says deal 20 damage. You have to aim it at either the peripheral or the sentinel, but this says deal 4 damage to all targets. So we're going to do exactly that. Let's play on the Code Slash. I'm going to play Energize now to get some clock. Unfortunately, I didn't draw any good cards. But I can't draw cards because I can play Code Slash. I can play Scout. Unfortunately, I did not get another attack. It's a shame. Because now it's left with only 13 HP. If I drew an attack card, I would have killed it. But now I'm going to kill it. And that's the end of the tutorial, I suppose. The core keeper has been defeated. And that's it. We won. So it was a first look at the game. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to upload at some point another video where I play a proper run. So I hope to see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed seeing me fumble it. And yeah, until next time, goodbye.